Hey guys, this is Deannette from Perry Hill Farms. Today's Valentine's Day, and Valentine's Day to us is extra special for me and Stumpy because it is the date that we first went on an official date, and it was the date that he asked me to be his girl, and that was today, 32 years ago. So I have been his girl for 32 years, his Valentine. So today I'm going to share a recipe. Now, I have not done this recipe, but I'm always looking for ways to replace yellow box cakes. Because I don't always have them in store or in the pantry. So today I found a recipe on, of course, Pinterest. So I have to give Pinterest credit for a homemade yellow box cake that gives you different options, but you could make this cake mix and you can seal it in a resealable bag, or like we do, mason jars with lid, airtight container, and it can last up to 3 months. You always have a cake mix on standby. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you along with me. We're going to make Stumpy a cake for Valentine's Day. He loves a coconut cake, so I'm going to make one for him today. And so y'all just come on in and we'll see how it works. I hope it turns out. I hope it's just as good as a box cake, but I'm going to take you with me, so y'all come on. Okay, so everything you need to make this yellow box cake recipe is usually stuff that we have on stock because we buy in bulk and keep things here in bulk. So for this recipe, I'll tell you, for the cake mix part, you're going to need 2 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour, which I have mixed in here in my bowl. You're going to need 1 1/2 cups of granulated sugar, which are in here, a tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, half a cup of vegetable shortening, which I have already measured out, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now in here I have my, I've combined my sugar, my flour. Let me get my little spatula. I've combined my sugar, my flour, and my salt together, and my baking powder. I'm just going to mix it together in this bowl. And basically that's the cake mix. Now there was a confetti. You could add confetti to it. There was allspice. I'm sure you could add some pumpkin spice to it to spice it up. But I'm just going to do just a regular cake mix. So without making a mess, I hope. Ha! Y'all know better than that. So okay, so now I have whisked together, and I've got my dry ingredients together here in the bowl, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it in my mixer here, because next thing I want to do is on low speed, I want to mix my shortening in and my vanilla extract. Now let me tell you about my vanilla extract. Do you remember Teaching the Next Generation video where we made strawberry jam? Well, our little friend Presley has learned how to make homemade vanilla extract. And it's a bourbon base. So, and it is delicious. You can see the vanilla beans in there. It smells so good. And she gifted us with some homemade vanilla extract. She's coming a long way, and I'm so proud of her, but I love stuff like that. So anyway, we're going to get this dry ingredients mixed into our mixer here. Let me go ahead and take that off. It's in the way. I don't want and I'm going to have flour all over my black sweatshirt. Stumpy and I tend to, we always celebrate today, whether it's a nice meal together or you know, just a card or something, because it's so special to us. It was the day that he was brave enough to ask me to be his girl. So, but I always like doing homemade stuff for him, and I haven't always been able to because I work. But now that I'm home, I could make some homemade stuff. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lock my KitchenAid. I'm going to slowly mix in my 1/2 cup of shortening, okay? So I'm just gonna start adding it. I'm gonna turn on low. Maybe it won't be too loud. I'm just gonna let it blend in there. And what'll happen is you'll, well, be nice. Be nice. Don't start throwing flour out now. It'll start getting crumbly, but it'll combine. So I'm letting that just mix slow and slow, until it's all combined. Now I haven't added my extract yet, and it is a teaspoon of it. So I have my teaspoon here, but you can see, whew, it's the shortening is blending in with the. Let me show you. If you look right there, you can see that it's becoming crumbly a little bit. You know, and so the sugar, the salt, and the it's becoming like a little crumbly. You can see the crumbles of the shortening in there. Now what? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add my vanilla in there. Now this is equivalent to 1 yellow cake mix. And so once it's blended here, I am going to go ahead and follow the directions for the cake batter. And what that calls for, to bake the cake, you need this recipe of cake mix. You need 2 large eggs at room temperature, which we always have eggs here because we're on a farm. Cup of milk at room temperature, it says, and I've already got that stuff pulled out. I've already got my milk out, trying to get it at room temperature. And then it calls for 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Now, anytime I make a cake from a box, and I like the butter cake recipes, and so I always, even if I just buy yellow cake box mix, instead of the oil, I'll add butter instead to give it a buttery flavor, because I just like that flavor. And so so that's what I'm gonna do today. Instead of the 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, I'm gonna do just a little bit over 2 tablespoons of butter, and we'll see how it turns out. I'm praying it doesn't turn out dry. I'm using smaller cake pans. These are probably 8-inch, so, but I'll get those ready in just a minute. But our cake mix is prepared, and so now to bake the cake, I just need to add my 3 large eggs, and I have them, excuse me, not 3, 2 large eggs, and I have them right here. I'm gonna crack them separately and then add them. These eggs are so beautiful. I shared a short the other day because I had I think a Breeze egg, which they're in the, oh, I lost the shell. A Breeze egg, and then one that's been free range, and you can tell the difference. But these look like these are the free range chicken's eggs. So, but it looks like, I tell you what I'm gonna do right here. I'm gonna stop it and make sure it's all incorporated. It looks like it, and you know, it's crumbly like a, you know how when you open up a cake mix from the box, it's kind of has a wet mixture to it. So I'm going to go ahead, turn this back on, and let it be mixing. I'm going to add my eggs, my 2 eggs in there, and then I'm going to add my cup of milk in there, and let that incorporate. And then I've softened my butter. Now I'll probably turn turn this up a little bit when I get the butter in and let it beat it a little bit, get that egg incorporated there real good. So 2 large eggs, a cup of milk, and instead of the 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, I'm gonna use the butter. And it looks just like a cake mix. It really does. It's yellow. I'll show you that in just a minute. I'm gonna let this beat just a minute to get the clumps out of it while I get my pans prepared. Many of you don't know, Denise and I, we used to bake cakes for, you know, not for a living, but on the side, birthday cakes and stuff like that. So we have a lot of these old Wilton cake pans there. Just a minute. If I don't have the flour spray, I will use, which I don't. I have olive oil and grilling. I don't want to use it because it's going to taste like grilling. But I can use this olive oil spray. Or you can just use the shortening and flour the pan if you want. But I'm going to spray these pans, these 2 pans here. The sides. And once I get the batter in there, you're going to let them bake for about, these are probably going to take about 30 minutes to bake. Most of the homemade cake recipes that I have found from scratch tend to come out dry. I've not made this one, so I'm hoping it will be very similar to the flavor of a box cake. It looks like it is. It looks the same consistency. And if it works out, then I'll always have it. I won't have to purchase these box cakes. So anyway, but let me show you here. I mean, that looks just like a box cake. Now I'm gonna take my spatula and just kind of make sure I've got everything off the sides. I've got my pans prepared. I'm gonna go ahead and add. This recipe will make, you know, it said 2 9-inch rounds or a 9 by 13 recipe. So I'm gonna see how they do. I've got them. I'm gonna bump the air out of them. Okay, now I've got my two cakes ready. My oven's preheated to 350. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in. And let them bake, and we will come back and check them in just a few minutes and see how they're doing. Okay, so the coconut icing recipe called for some whipped cream. I didn't have whipped cream, but guess what I did have? I had some fresh cow cream that I have put in my blender here. Probably have not quite 2 cups. I'm gonna see how much it makes. I'm gonna whip it up and see what we have. But I've skimmed the cream off the milk, off the raw milk from October Grace that we've gathered this week. And I'm just gonna whip it up here and get it a little bit thicker for whipped cream. So get it going here. I've got my whisk on my thing. And in just a few minutes, it should turn into a cream. It gets thicker and thicker. It's actually growing in size. And once I get it to the consistency that I want, I'll stop because I don't want it to turn into butter. So it's already thickening up. It really is. I definitely don't want it to separate into butter. So I'm gonna make sure before it starts to separate that I stop it. But it's giving me a good, it's already risen halfway up the pan. Let me show you. Okay. There is my cream is turned into whipped cream. So I have that. So I'm gonna get it out of my mixer and get my coconut icing made and ready to ice the cakes. So okay guys, the cakes are almost done, but I was gonna go ahead and get the icing together. Now, the coconut icing recipe calls for 2 cups of powdered sugar, 8 ounces of sour cream, 12 ounces of coconut, and 1.5 cups of whipped cream, which is probably way more than what I have. I probably have more than what I need. Anyway, okay guys, this recipe for the coconut icing, I've got my 2 cups of powdered sugar, I've got my 8 ounces of sour cream, and I've got my 12 ounces of coconut that I had in store. I have it in my mixer. I'm gonna go ahead and get it mixed together. And once I get this mixed together, it says to take this, all but about a cup of it, and spread it in between the layers of the cake. I only have 2 layers, so that should work out fine, just 1 layer. But I'm gonna put, once I get this spread between the layers, I'm gonna add the whipping cream. I'm gonna beat it some more, get it a little bit thicker, and then we'll put it on the cool cakes. Hey guys, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, because by all means, I am not perfect. My nemesis when I'm cooking is sometimes I tend to get in a hurry and I skip a few steps thinking it won't matter. And so I sprayed my pans with olive oil, Pam spray. What I failed to do is I failed to flour them. And so my first 2 layers of cake that I made stuck to the pan. So now I have 2 platefuls of pieces of cake. But don't lose heart. It gave me an opportunity to try the cake mix, and I'm just going to tell you. I mean, look at this. Can you see that? That right there? That is a good cake. It doesn't taste like it's from scratch. It's got the butter flavor. You can taste the sugar, the vanilla in it. It's very sweet. I bet you could use that flour mixture too. I think I read in the article you could use it for your to add to cornbread sweet muffins. That is delicious. I can't quit eating this. And the top is made a little crispy top. So I had to mix another recipe together, and I've got those 2 layers in the oven. I'll just put this stuff in an airtight container because it could be something we snack on later. Levi might not like the coconut, but he might like the cake, and so when I go pick him up from school, I can let him have cake for a snack. Because what happens at Nana's house stays at Nana's house. No, not really. But anyway, so once those get done, I'll let them cool. I've got my icing ready. I'll whip it up before I take it out. And then I'm going to add the cream to it, whip it up, get it thick again, and then we'll put it on the outside layer. But I'm going to let those finish baking, let them cool, and then we'll come back and we'll finish the cake. Hopefully, Stumpy won't make it home before the cake is done. Hey guys, I got me a partner. I had to go get little man from school. My cakes are cool. I dusted and did shortening on these pans, so we'll see. Hopefully they will work. They actually baked better, more flat. They didn't do a dome. So I know there's a reason for that.
That's pretty soft, like flat.
Yeah. So anyway, praise the Lord, it come out. Good. So what we want to do now is I think I'm going to flip it over where it's flat. like this. And then I'm going to take, now the recipe, if you'll remember what I said earlier, it said take all but maybe a cup. And I put it in between. I got a little bit more than a cup, but I'm going to put that in between. The layer nice and thick. I'll probably put it thicker on one side because it looks lower. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the whipped cream.
I shall taste it.
And put it in there. Watch this. And we're going to put it in here. We're going to mix it together. And turn this on slow. Get the whipped cream mixed together with the rest of the coconut.
Nana, is that supposed to taste like coconut milk?
It's coconut, yeah. Do you like it?
I should have tasted coconut 10,000 years ago. Well, about 6 years ago.
So hopefully I'm gonna let this beat a little bit to get nice and thick. So I'll flip this out like this, and it came out, which is the praise. Look at that, look at that. That is a homemade box cake recipe. Isn't that pretty?
Nana,
What?
I stole some of it.
Oh, did you? Well, you don't have to steal any. Look, right there.
Oh, bro.
Yes.
Oh, you saved it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, the first cake crumbled. The first cake crumbled.
Oh, no.
And so I had to save
Don't
them.
mean it goes to waste.
No, and nothing goes to waste around here, remember?
Yep.
It's getting thicker. I want it to stick to the side of the cake. Papa's gonna be so surprised when he comes home.
I bet Papa would like that.
Yeah, he's gonna love this, for sure. What we'll do is when we get done, we'll put it in the refrigerator.
I said Papa would probably like that.
Yeah, you think so?
I think he would.
It's Valentine's Day today. Did you know that?
Yep.
So this is my gift to Papa. My whipped cream is a little loose, but I think once I...
Whipped cream.
My homemade whipped cream that I made from the cow cream. It's a little loose.
Do you have another one of those?
Another spatula?
Like that? Can I use one? Or
It's over there in the... See it over there by the stove?
Oh.
What I'll do is I'll put this in the refrigerator and it'll stiffen up.
Looks like a knife.
Oh, that one's too big. There's a smaller one. There's a green one that's a little bit smaller. Okay.
Is there a certain way you want it?
I just want it... Oh, not on the floor.
Sorry.
Not on the floor, but that's okay. Never fear. Colonel is here.
Yeah.
Oh, Levi.
Sorry.
You're making a mess.
And Oakley.
Oakley hadn't figured out. He has yet to figure out when Nana's making cakes. Colonel learned from Dottie and Solomon.
Dottie and Solomon are older than him?
Remember how they would sit and wait?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
What we'll do is we'll put it in the refrigerator and it'll stiffen up.
Every time we make a pound cake, they knew absolutely what was going to happen. They said, chow time.
Right. That's right.
That was the funniest part about them, too. But then later on in the years, they passed on.
Yeah, well, we all do at some point.
Eventually.
Yep. So I have some extra.
Papa is going to love this.
Thing is sealed. Because if you don't seal the holes, it'll dry out. Did you know that? That's kind of Rick.
I was doing.
Yeah, he smells it. You know what? Did you know that dogs can tell? They can smell every ingredient in this cake.
Wait, what?
Now, they don't know the name of it. They could just smell the different dogs. Their sense of smell is so strong that they can smell the different ingredients. Now, they can't say, now that's this and that's that because they don't know the name of it, but they just know that there's some different smells. Okay, so now that I got the icing on it, can you see that? See the icing down there? Oop, I have my cords in the way. I'm going to top it with some, put some coconut on the top. So now I'm going to just kind of go on the sides and kind of.
Do not hit me.
Pat some coconut on the side. Clean this up. I'm going to put it in the, actually probably put it in the freezer. And let it get good and hard and stiff. Well, there it is. Okay, so I finished Eric's Valentine's present. He doesn't know. I've talked to him a few times, but I didn't tell him what I was doing. So here's a pic. Here's. I'm sure it'll be delicious. But anyway. I found a recipe that tastes like a box recipe, but it's made from scratch, and it worked good. And you were with me. You joined me today, and to witness that. And I'm so glad I did, because I've tried for years and they've always come out dry. This one's perfect. But I'm gonna get this in the refrigerator and let it be cooling. Get Stumpy's card written out, or his letter, and we're gonna have us a steak and sweet potatoes for supper tonight for Valentine's, to celebrate our 32 years together. So there's the grand, yeah. But
I'll be there.
Anyway, y'all, as Stumpy always says, a simple life is a much more enjoyable life, and it truly is. Just being able to be in the kitchen, cooking up something that you know that your loved ones love, really speaks volumes to them. And he'll be ecstatic when he comes in that I spent the time in the kitchen for him. And then I'll be ecstatic to eat that steak that he cooks for me. So thank y'all so much for watching and spending the time with me in the kitchen today, as we made a homemade coconut cake from not a box cake, but a cake mix from scratch that tastes like a box cake. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Y'all take care. We'll see you in the next video. Stumpy.
Hey guys.
What are you doing?
This is Eric with Perry Hill Farm.
Stumpy.
And my sweet wife, when I come in today, it was Valentine's Day. And for you fellas out there, she wrote me a personal card, which means more to me than anything she could have went to the store and bought. And if you don't know it by now, and if you don't know it by looking at that right there, I love to eat. And I love something good to eat. And I've been wanting a coconut cake for quite some time. And bless my sweet wife's heart, she remembered that. And so I'm going to cut me a piece of this cake.
Tell them it's not just Valentine's, Stumpy. What is it?
We started dating on Valentine's Day, so it's kind of an anniversary also.
How many years?
32 years ago.
Look at that. I didn't have to tell him, guys. He remembered. Look at that piece of cake.
32 years. Well, I hadn't eaten no dinner. And I am hungry. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that icing. Look at that stuff in the middle. Remember, a simple life and a simple coconut cake is a much more enjoyable life. And I feel sorry for all the rest of the guys out there on the earth, because I got the best one. God bless y'all. God bless my wife for making me a cake. And I'm going to sit down over there and enjoy it.
Yep.
See y'all later.